justice, and the American Big Sil's way. That's what this bad puppy is about. Absolutely. America spoke last night. That's the really cool thing about our country last night, watching that. Hey, by the way, this is not going to be a political open. This is not going to be a political show, except for this. Hey, man, that shows you our country is healthy last night. Wasn't just the fact that Trump won the election and won the White House last night. This came down to down ballot. This was an indictment on the last 4 years of what people were doing in the White House and in this country. By the way, I don't really give a shit about Joe Biden. I don't give a shit about anybody else. Make my country great. Just make my country great. And what I don't like is today you have a portion of the people who didn't vote for Trump last night attacking Americans because they wanted a different direction for our country. There's another election in 4 years. Make a difference. If anything proved me that we're healthy as the United States was last night, the American people voted. The American people voted last night. Now, I'll tell you what's cool about our show. You get to get away from that. And I want to tell you something that's important to me. And this is why sports is so great. You know what that is? We can be Democrats, Republicans here, independents, not care for the guy who won last night. Or maybe you supported him. And we can talk sports. Because we have one thing in common. We love sports. Sports is the greatest equalizer to get away from what you saw last night and kind of bring us together just for a small 4 hours here. By the way, our show is powered by BetUS. Thank you so much. Please hit the like button. First 15 minutes is the most important part of our program when it comes to those likes. All super chats go to the top. You see Prince here? Talk sports? Why, Prince? You don't sit at a bar talking sports and what's going on in the world? I don't just talk sports, dude. I talk like we're at a bar. And I am at a bar. And that's why my show's at a bar. Is because that's kind of what we do. 99.9% of my show is sports. But when you got 85 million Americans last night, or over 100 million Americans voting, I think it's kind of a story. I mean, right? Big Sills. Haven't been this hyped since November 16. Okay? Thank you for the super chat. Historic day. I think it's a historic day because what you get is you get to see that America is healthy. Hey, man, again, there's going to be people pissed off that the guy won. I get it. I get it. But the cool thing is we get a chance to sit around here and debate sports. So please hit that like button. Whoever your candidate was last night, kind of put that to the side here. Hit the like button. We got a week 10 of the NFL right around the corner. Week 11 of college football. You got Cowboy and Eagle week. Some of you are going to go like this. Yeah, it's Cooper Rush. I know. Just like the Jags. Hey, get this. You know what's great about Eagle fan? We're going to win by 50, and we're going to put a 50 burger on the Cowboys. I thought you were going to put a 50 burger on the Jags. I thought you were going to mow the Jaguars over. What happened? Had a tight one versus a 2-7 Jacksonville Jaguar team. Yeah, all right. We're going to talk a little bit about Howie Roseman. Those 2024 Dallas Cowboys. Vic, Nick, and Kellen have spoken in the last couple of days. A little bit of our takeaways from that. And also week 10 of the National Football League. By the way, I've got to congratulate you. You guys have officially run off, I think, Mark Holmes. Eagle fans, football fans, National Football Show fans, I think you ran off Mark Holmes. And I think you ran him into the abyss. You know why? Because he's now officially taking shots at Big Sills. You know when I have somebody, and do you know when I have somebody concerned about me or somebody who pretends to know me and then they kind of tell you they don't like me or whatever, not really knowing who I am? That's when I know I got you. And I got you in the palm of my hands. And our guys and Sue, we got you. We crushed you. Hey, Mark Holmes, the National Football Show crushed you. We took your yin yang and your cannoli, and we crushed you. How you doing? We crushed you. Hey, he's got to take shots at me because I looked at the numbers of the Cowboys heading into this week. I think they're worse than the Jags. Please hit the like button. We broke you, Mark. Mark, we broke you. The National Football Show broke that bitch Mark Holmes' back. Oh, so wonderful. I will take a Donald Trump victory lap on that one. How you doing? Absolutely great. Mark Holmes is officially a pussy. He got annihilated. He got annihilated. We broke his back. Congratulations to you. And listen, I know you guys are tough. You're tough on me. And if you can't take it and you're a snowflake, hey, is this what you guys did to Josh Innes? Did you guys do this to Josh Innes when he was on the air, WIP? Did you guys beat him up so much at the end that he just ran out of town and had to fire him, get rid of him? Because you guys exposed him? Because Josh seemingly, he loves Philly, it looked. I heard he was a complete dickhead in the building there when it came to the salespeople. But outside of that, is this what you guys did to Josh Innes? Okay, so Sills, the battle royale over? I don't know. They're doing something today. Philly 500 can't make it either. We'll send him a link tomorrow. We'll see if he wants to do it. Okay, we'll see if he wants to do it. I don't know. Hey, by the way, so we get this. We've crushed. This is the Xander too. So in the last 5 days, I almost have John McMullen walking off the set of the postgame show because of my takes. And I've now broken Mark Holmes officially. I don't know. Maybe the reputation is right. Maybe that's what they say. Big Sills, man, tough to deal with. I think it's also the people that follow us. Wow, man, you guys broke that guy's ass. Guy's freaking moaning. All right, let's get into it. Please hit the like button. We so appreciate it. By the way, get this. This guy here, look at this guy. This guy goes to Johnny Mac cooked my ass because he supported Johnny Mac's decision that Nick Sirianni was right when it came to coaching that game on Sunday. Andreas, if you fucking think that, you're just as much of an idiot as Mark Holmes is. He shouldn't have been in here in the first place. F him. Those cowgirls. P.S. I don't break any man's back, Sills. No, this is the only guy that asked me how tall I am. Hey, Sills, how tall are you? Shut up, Prince. It destroyed him. We're the killer of all. I don't know why I'm trying to sound like Arnold. I have no idea. Okay? Hey, I got, hey, Clairvoy. Now, come on, man. Let's try to keep the political victory laps down to a simmer. Because there's going to be people in here upset. Sills, you still on that? Yeah, because that's an indictment on you. Sills, how much do you weigh and how tall are you? Shut up. What do you want to date? What do you want to know? How big my ass is? Well, I have to have exercise jeans, Prince, for my big tushy. Hey, Prince, I look really good in Bruno Mali's. Sorry, OJ. Okay? And my ass is kind of big, just in case you tell. And I am almost 6'2". How you doing? How's that for you, honey? Right? Let's see here. Sills hurt Mark Holmes because he lied to him about going to the game. So what is he, my wife? I only care about my wife if she's upset with me if I lie. So if I lie to Mark Holmes and admit that I lied to him, I'm supposed to give a shit about that? I don't. I can't believe Sileo lied to me. What are we, girlfriend and boyfriend? I mean, this guy's acting like I'm his boyfriend. I mean, we're barely friends. And he wants to take me out on a date or something to go get a shake. Sileo lied to me. He said he was going to go to the Cowboy game. Hey, fuck that guy. I got another dude that I'm going to hang out with. I got another guy I'm going to hang out with that night. Is that okay with you, sweetie? I'm going to hang out with Prince. Hey, you hang out with Prince. See, you could say that shit, Sue, when you're married 34 years. Everyone knows I'm dead anyway. Hit the like button, please. Super chats go to the top. By the way, always remember something. Big Sills has a golden rule. I never hang out with dudes at a bar. And I never get a haircut with a dude. You know the Kuyan scrapage in the barber's chair? Not happening. Dudes don't cut Big Sills' hair. Not happening. I got to keep my arms in like that when I get a haircut. Like that, because in case you get scrapage. So guys are always like wanting to cut. And I'm like, no, it's not good for me. That's why only chicks cut my hair. Can't have it any other way. I can't have Kuyan scraping. So I got my arms in like this, and kind of like the chairs aren't usually set up for me like good. So, I'm always like this. I got to have a chick cut my hair. Because guys always want to scrape their nuts on you. And I'm like, that can't work for me, man. That's not good. I feel uncomfortable and I don't care about my hair. It's a bad scene. I've had it happen too many times, so I stopped doing that like around 25 years ago. It's no good. I see why that happened to you in New Orleans now. You gotta let that go, my guy. That's some Diddy shit, Sills. Oh, okay, Prince. I'm not the one asking you, what do you look like in a suit? Hey, Sills, how tall are you? You got a big ass? Yeah. Oh, man. Super chats all go to the top, please. Appreciate it, by the way. All right. Let's get into a recap of Howie. Howie didn't make a move at the trading deadline. Do you believe that the Philadelphia Eagles have a Super Bowl roster right now? Do you believe you have a Super Bowl roster right now? Hey, Flexen, really? What an epiphany. Do you have a Super Bowl roster? Yes. Cosmo, not yet. Even the 49ers made moves. Absolutely. If they play the right way. 10-26 the last 4 weeks versus nobodies. You've played nobodies. How do you know this? How do you know this? You haven't played anybody. How do you know this? How in the world do you know if you have a Super Bowl roster? Playing against inferior talent? How do you know this? Here's the difference between Kansas City and you. They win them. You don't. Dude, stop comparing yourself to Mahomes in Kansas City. Because the one thing that team and organization does, they run through the tape. They don't run to the tape. The Eagles run to the tape and fail. That organization runs through the tape. Okay? We need a game where we go down by 2 possessions, then come back and win. Versus an elite team, that would be cool. Big Bird, I'd like to see that. Look at this guy. Let me guess, too. Here's a guy here. The refs. Yeah, like the field, too, in Green Bay, like John McMullen says. The field in Arizona. Boy, you come up with the biggest asshole excuses for hanging in there with a shitty team I've ever seen. So what? Referees, bad calls in an NFL game? What an epiphany. The referees are human too, dude. Holy shit. Anybody who makes excuses up on the referees or the fields is stupid. It's dumb talk. It's dumb talk. It has no bearing because both teams play with the same refs and both teams play on the same field. Do referees make mistakes? Yeah, you have to overcome it and not put yourself in a position with a 2-7 football team. Yeah. Okay? Sup, James Jones? My Commanders, baby. Woo! Marcus Lattimore. Hey, by the way, where's my boy James? Hey, James, do you know why they got Marcus Lattimore? Why do you think Marcus Lattimore was acquired by the Washington Commanders? Why do you think he was acquired? What would be the one reason that he was acquired? Okay? Why would it be? Why would it be? Yeah, I know. Get this. People in here are going like this. Marcus Lattimore is washed. Just like you guys were telling me Derrick Henry was washed. Okay. That's right. That's right. To shut down A.J. Brown. One plain reason. I'll tell you what. You want to know how great that player is? Go back and watch some tape with him and Mike Evans and how those two dudes went back and forth. Even Shady McCoy said it. He was watching that dude, Marcus Lattimore, when Brady was on the team, and he goes, you want to see a football player and you want to see a battle? Watch Lattimore versus Mike Evans. Watch what that guy and how that guy defended him. Those were epic battles on how those two guys went after each other. Okay? They were absolutely. Dude, he's a great player. Marshawn Lattimore is a freaking great football player. How you doing, Commanders? Big Sills is prognosticating. How you doing? Oh, look at Xander here, man. Holy shit, I didn't know I was in English class. Okay. Oh, good. So how many people believe here that you have a Super Bowl roster? Does Big Sills believe that the Eagles have a Super Bowl roster? No, I do not. Not yet. You haven't been in a game where that's been tested yet, where you have been tested by anybody great. I'll give you Burrow. You did a nice job on Burrow. And I thought you did a decent job on Jordan Love. Okay? Both those players, but quite frankly, Cousins ate your ass, and so did Baker Mayfield. Kicked the shit out of you. So, I mean, there were quarterbacks that owned ownership, pink slip. I mean, Baker Mayfield was sensational against the Eagles. And by the way, he doesn't play on the other side of the ball. Okay? That guy was going against your so-called no-holes defense. Bucks and Atlanta have wins on you. Okay? Sean says, yeah, Lattimore is so great that he's going to be available for every Washington Starship Trooper football game. Okay, Sean. How you doing? No holes defense. It's third in the NFL right now versus horse shit teams. Congratulations to you. They're fraudulent. Hey, man, honest to God. Hey, let me do this. Let me take a look actually. And let's put this thing out here. Let me see something here. So let me take a look at actually the overall record here. So let's go to NFL here. Let's go to teams. And they're the Eagles. So let's take a look at this great no-holes defense and the competition that they've played. I believe Green Bay's 5-3, if I'm not mistaken. Atlanta's 5-3. So there's 10-6. Pretty good out of the gate. New Orleans 2-7. Ooh. Okay, there's 14. There's 12-14. Tampa Bay is 4-5 now. 19. That's 16-19. And you lost to a team under 500. Holy shit. That team right there is 2-8. Okay, it's 21. Wait, 7. 27. 18. Giants are 2-9. 34. 20. Let's do another one here. Cincinnati, 4-5. 39. That helps out a little bit. 24-39. And Jacksonville's now 2 and okay. So your no holds defense has played against teams with a combined record of 26-46. Woo! What a barometer! What a barometer! 26-46. That's your schedule. And you're telling me you're a Super Bowl team and you're playing tight games versus who? You're playing tight games versus Atlanta. New Orleans, 15-12. That's a 2-7 football team. Cleveland, 20-16. That's a 2-7 team. The Giants, you killed them. And then the Jags, 28-23, 2-7. Woo! Holy shit. Your defense is killing it. You know what you are? Your defense is the Kirk Cousins of NFL defenses. You're stockpiling shit. You're stockpiling great stats versus shitty teams. How do you know how good you are? You're sitting here telling me you're great and you've played nobody. And you're compiling statistics versus bad football teams. Facts. This is not an opinion. We can only play who's on our schedule. I know that. That's the point. You don't really know how good you are. That's why some years, some teams have great records, and you look at them, you play them, and they play against a lesser record team, and they kill them. Why? Well, because they've been more prepared to play, because they've been conditioned and ready to play because they played tougher schedule. To me, I'd rather have a football team that played a tougher schedule than a football team with a blown-up schedule versus shitty football teams, because I'll be battle-tested by November, December, and January when I need it the most, when I'm in those crucial games. You've been in crucial games versus shitty teams. Those are facts. Get this. Facts. You're combining. If you guys sit here and tell me that Kirk Cousins is the king of empty calorie stats, so are you. And so is your entire unit. So is your entire unit. What's the goalpost I'm moving? What's the goalpost? I'm telling you what you've done at the halfway mark. You've played against the teams that are 26-46. And one winning. How many winning teams have you actually played, let alone win? Atlanta's got a winning, and you lost that one. That was an L, but that's a winning team. Green Bay's a winning team. You've played 2 teams out of 8 that are winners, and you've beat one that has a winning record, Green Bay, in the opener. How do you know how good you are? well, we've been trending in the right direction. Yeah, versus dog shit teams. Okay. Congratulations for beating up bad teams. That's how I see it. Get this. That's the fucking point, senor. The Bucs were not who we thought they are after injuries in the war of attrition, the same as New Orleans. You don't get credit for having a winning record earlier in the year. That's like you're talking to me about college football. How many teams in college football start out in the top 25 and not end up in the top 20? Why? Because they were frauds or a significant injury. Mike Evans and Chris Godwin being out. Come on, man. I do think the Bucs are a decent team. Here's who I think the Eagles have played that are good. Green Bay. I think Atlanta's good. You grabbed an L on that. I think the Bucs are good. You grabbed an L on that. That's it. You played 3 teams, and every one of them, 34-29. You lose by a point to Atlanta, and you got annihilated by the Bucs. Those are the games that you figure out whether you're a Super Bowl contender or not versus teams that potentially can be playoff teams. These other teams are garbage. I'm not going to tell you how good you are. Here are the teams that you've played that are going to tell you how good you are. Green Bay, Atlanta, maybe the Bucs. Maybe the Bucs. Okay? Who fucking says that they're a Super Bowl contender? I'm not saying the Commanders are a Super Bowl contender. I think at the 8-game mark, halfway in the season, they got a better record than you. They're in first place in the East. Hey, Sills, they got a Hail Mary in there. No shit. Who said the Commanders are going to New Orleans? I never did. Right? Get this. Let's take a look at something here. Let me tell you a little. Here, I'll tell you how I'm basically telling you how I look at teams. So let's take a look at the Baltimore Ravens. Let's go to the Ravens right now because they got a shitty loss on there too, like you do. So let's go to the Ravens. Here they are, right here. Ravens. Okay. They got an L by 7 points to Kansas City. That's a competitive football game. They grabbed an L against them. Losing to the Raiders is terrible. Crushing a healthy Cowboy team at the time, actually not crushing them. 28-25, Dallas now with the injuries. That's not a win that I'm going to gauge the Ravens on. That's a shitty win. Crushing Buffalo, that's a fucking great win. Close one to Cincinnati. Is there commonality versus the Ravens and the way that the Eagles beat up the Bengals? Yeah. You had a better game against Cincinnati. That's on your side of the ledger. They beat Washington, okay? They're in first place in the East. And they beat them by 7. That's a good win. They beat Tampa, who beat the doorknobs off you by 10. The loss to Cleveland. Their 2 shitty losses are by far Cleveland and Las Vegas. And then they turn around and they beat a potential team, the Denver Broncos, who are right now fighting for a playoff job. Okay? But taking a look at the quarterbacks, you're playing Dak, Josh Allen, Joe Burrow, Jaden Daniels, Baker Mayfield. Then you got Watson. I think that was Watson in there. And then you got this kid, Bo Nix. But you got a better bunch of quarterbacks that you've played. So do I look at the Baltimore Ravens having played tougher competition and better quarterbacks? I do. And I think they're a better team than you. Records don't tell me how good you are. Records can be fraudulent. Like you saw a year ago. 11 wins was fraudulent. You looked more like a 6-win team at the end of the year. Well, how do you know how good your defense is when you've played nobody? I'm going to be real. The Commanders and Eagle fans can't say nothing until we play. Listen, I think that's kind of the storyline. Hey, did I miss a super chat, Xander? If I did, please put it up. So, I mean, I don't know. Okay, that's cool. Okay, we read that. Thank you, man. The Buccaneers didn't have their top players, but still went to overtime in Kansas City. That doesn't concern you, Sills? No. Nothing with Kansas City concerns me. No. At all. I'm not concerned about Kansas City at all because they've elevated themselves and graduated to the land of the postseason, Prince. Nothing they do concerns me. Whether they're in tight games or not, nothing concerns me because you're going to get everybody's Super Bowl performance versus Kansas City. This team's going for something historic. It's a historic football team right now until someone knocks them off, and they're undefeated. So until somebody shows me, and here's a team that doesn't play well and wins. If you lose players, you're beat. Okay? Seals, the Chiefs are undefeated and have beaten two teams with winning record. Abe, the Kansas City Chiefs are in a different conversation. Don't compare your team, who hasn't won dick, to a team that's on a historic run. How can you do that? The coach is on a historic run. The quarterback's on a historic run. Isn't it funny at the end of the game, no matter who the team is, they lose because of Mahomes? I mean, it makes no sense. Stop comparing yourself to that team. You have no comparison, nothing. Because that team beat you in a Super Bowl too. I mean, dude, I don't care how many regular season games that team loses. They get to the post. Let me ask you this. If Kansas City was a wild card team in the AFC playoffs, would you still take Mahomes to get to the Super Bowl over the other quarterbacks in the AFC? I would. If they were not made it to the playoffs, would you still take them to win it if they made it to the playoffs? I would. If you had a 14-3 Xander Krause Philadelphia Eagle record, would you take them in a Super Bowl over Kansas City? I would. I would not. I would not. How could you? You got to first beat Baker Mayfield. You've lost 2 times in a row to Mayfield. You're going to beat Mahomes now in a Super Bowl? Come on, man. Dude, facts. Follow the facts. I'm not telling you shit right here that's opinion. I'm telling you where you are right now as a football. This is the same shit we went over a year ago. I feel like this is like Groundhog Day. We're in the same shit we were a year ago. It's like Groundhog Day. A lot of people discredit the Chiefs because so many of their games end on weird calls. And it goes their way. I understand that's football, people just getting tired of them. Chief fatigue? No way. I'll tell you what. Here's something here, Christopher, and I appreciate the super chat. Thank you. By the way, guys, please hit the like button, and all super chats go to the top. Christopher, you know what's funny? The New England Patriots gave me fatigue because I thought it was boring. It's kind of like Alabama. I don't really think Alabama was like a football team that gave you like a lot of, because the coach didn't like the rat poison. See, the reason that I liked what we did in our dynasty at Miami, we had charismatic guys. We had guys who were like playmaker and all these guys that were personalities like Jerome. And it's why we're one of the most remembered programs of all time. I'm not saying what Nick did at Bama wasn't great, but was it really like, it was a lot like New England. People got tired of Bama. I didn't. I liked dynasties and I like greatness. But Nick never let those players go out of their skin and enjoyed themselves publicly. Same as Belichick. He never let the Patriots. I think what you got with Mahomes, You got the wives, you got the girlfriends, you got Travis Kelce, you got the Chiefs fans. I think it's cool. It's way cooler, in my opinion, rooting for Kansas City than it was for the Patriots. I just think it's cooler. Hit the like button. Thank you, guys. Sills, just pointing out this NFL season looks a little rough with all the injuries and expected some teams to have different records, such as the Niners. Hey, I'll tell you what, that's why you got to be careful when you're talking about records. Records don't give you a clear indication of what your team is, depending on because some teams play lesser schedules. Some teams are going to get a team that's got a healthy team. Some are not going to get a healthy team. And it's true. Who's ever on that schedule, you got to knock them down, whether they're healthy or not. Like, look at the Cowboys rolling in. Every single Philadelphia Eagle fan thinks you're probably going to put a 50 burger on them. I don't. You haven't done that all year. Why would I think you're going to do it Sunday? Why would I think you're going to do that Sunday? And by the way, you've lost 6 straight in Arlington. You don't play well there for whatever reason. Okay? So again, to sit here and say you're going to put a 50 spot on them, you couldn't even put a 30 spot on the Jags. Okay? Right? See here. When did I say the 49ers on the Chiefs level? I think the 49ers a year ago were on the Chiefs level. Let me tell you this, Niner. If last year's Super Bowl was played by the traditional rules of overtime, you win the Super Bowl. But because that rule got changed because of the Brady game with the Chiefs and the coin flip, you saw Baker Mayfield's face on Monday night when Mahomes won the coin flip. He knew it was over. You win the Super Bowl. And you went to an extra quarter. You took them to a 5th quarter. You were right there with them, dude. Super chats are awesome. Thank you, guys. I remember during the height of Andy in Philly, they always finished the season strong. You could bank on the team coming together when it mattered most. Absolutely. That's a true comment. And that's why Andy Reid's issues, Harv, that I always had with them with 2 minutes into the half and 2 minutes at the end of games, his situational play calling at times were very sketchy. And I thought he cost his team opportunities on moving on to the last game of the year because of some of those situations. I think Patrick Mahomes and him have a nice chemistry and rhythm that those things don't really rear its head any longer. They don't rear their heads 2-minute drills, halftime or going at the end of the game. Those guys know how and trust each other. I think there's a way more trust level with Mahomes and Andy than there ever was with Andy and McNabb. Way more trust. Way more trust. Groundhog Day, maybe. But remember, Bill Murray used the time to develop his skills and become something special. How much can the Eagle defense develop over the next 9 weeks with the games? A ton. It's a great take. I'm with you. Relative. This is where I am. This is where I am. I'm not here on November 6th. I'm with you here. Right here. You see, 70% of the Eagle fans, just like the organization, try to jump levels on developing of a quarterback or a team. Just like when the Eagles thought that they knew what they were doing by having Jalen Hurts throw the ball more. They decided in the bye that they weren't going to run it as much. Excuse me, they weren't going to throw it as much, and they were going to run it more. Factor. No question. A complete factor. It's made them better. And what else has that done? What do you think running the ball has done to the Eagles? What do you think it's done? What do you think it's done to help the Eagles, them running the ball more? Brian says time of possession. Keep it going, Brian. Follow through with your thought. Follow through with your thought. Why does time of possession help? Balances their offense. It's a great take. Absolutely. Okay? That's true too. That's not a bad one. Momentum building. Look at this. That's it. Bang. Bang, 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 bang. There you go. Spin bad. And then right here, Harv. Running the ball improves time of possession, allows the defense to stay rested and fresh. Take a look at how many reps the last 4 weeks your defense has had to play. 50, 52, 51. Average is 66. You're cutting plays and reps down so significantly because you're winning the time of possession. It keeps your defense rotation fresh. It keeps your 2 tackles in the middle, which are playing the run better, fresh. It keeps your secondary fresh. It keeps everything growing in the right direction because the offense. Hey, let me show you this. What was the one thing that Chip Kelly, besides his asshole bedside manner, what was the one thing that was absolutely criminal that Chip Kelly brought to the Eagles and how he ran a game and his game plan? What was the one thing that he cost that football team that made it impossible to sustain it and made it impossible to win at a consistent basis? What was the one thing? Smoothies. People say how good the Eagle roster is, but last few weeks, Chiefs got all pros on offensive line, DBs, tight end, DTs, and quarterback. Nobody brings it up, though. That's right. Chip destroyed his defense because this guy believed in high-volume plays. He wanted to try to run 80 plays in the NFL. That's what he's doing to Ohio State right now. They're running that defense into the ground. Ohio State's not going to win a national title, and they've got the unit to do it. You know why they're not going to do it? Is because they've got a couple nicked up injury guys on defense. It's because the offense, when you get some 3-and-outs and you're not able to have that no-huddle offense and you're not able to continue to do that, you wear your defense down. And he ended up wearing the defense down so much. He started out a ball of fire. Didn't he win 11 games 2 years in a row? Am I right when I say that, guys? Did he win 11 games 2 years in a row in Philadelphia? Did he win that many? Correct me if you can correct me if I'm wrong here on that. Did he win 11 games? Because I thought he had success early. But then, no, he won 10 2 years in a row. Okay, he won 10 games 2 years in a row. That's pretty good. 10-6 back-to-back. Tell me what happened after that first 2 years in his last couple of years in Philly. What happened in those last, what is it, 2 years in Philly? What happened to him? What were the records? You know what happened? He ended up running his defense into a mash unit because he didn't have the personnel. You only have 53 men on a roster. And he ran his defense into the IR tent. You know, you have 100 guys. You have 100 guys on a college roster. You can't do that in the NFL. So the point is, them running the ball keeps their defense fresh. And right now, in November 6th, the defense is trending in the right way. Absolutely trending. Okay? No doubt about it. I don't really think the league caught up with him. I think the injuries caught up with him. Because look at the guys who end up getting hurt and poor decision-making when it came to personnel decisions that he had control of. Chip Kelly is not a personnel guy. Chip Kelly's a good play caller. Outside of that, that's where his limit ends. He did a horrible job at UCLA running that program. He didn't recruit. He didn't care. He thought people would just show up to UCLA. Well, you're the second team in town there when it comes to the college program. Shit, more people like USC football than they do Rams or Charger football. And if you thought you were going to go in there and out-recruit them because you were Chip Kelly, he got his ass handed to him. And that's why he's a coordinator at Ohio State now. This guy thought he was going to roll into UCLA and kids were going to want to play for him. When you go to Oregon, I'm not going to play for the coach. I'm going to play because Oregon can help me. And it's an East Coast football program because of Nike. It's on the Nike campus. That's why you go to Oregon. I don't give a shit who the coach is at Oregon. I go there because of Phil Knight, not Mario Cristobal, whomever they have coaching that team. I don't care who the coach is. It doesn't matter. It's Nike. I get nil deals. Okay? I haven't watched 22 yet. I usually do it Wednesday night. Okay? You can see Jalen scanning the field like a pocket passer. Now, he needs to work on his timing still. Hey, Prince, I would say this too. I haven't looked at it yet. I'll look at it tonight. But I would say also he has to work on his feet. I don't think he has really good footwork. And he's a glider getting back into a 7. And I think that's always a problem. The really great passing quarterbacks who get back, if you ever remember watching Peyton Manning tap toe and do the tap dance, watching Brady move, a great quarterback is not in the arm. A great quarterback is in his feet and how he sets himself to be able to process the intel that's in front of him when it comes to reading defenses. I think that's one of the issues he struggles with. And I'll give you another guy that struggled with that was Vinny Testaverde. He meandered back into a 7-step. By the time he was a glider, he would get back and glide into a 7. And by the time he got back into a 7, it's already 2 seconds. You have a half a second to process the information. That's why interceptions happen. Joe Montana, the best people I've ever seen with feet are Joe Montana, Brady, Manning, all the great ones. Wasn't about arm. None of those guys had arm strength. Every single guy I mentioned, Marino was the exception, and so was Namath because of the arm strength they had. But the really great quarterbacks, they're not known for arm strength. You have your Elways. John was just a special player. Hard-nosed, a spectacular athlete, could read defenses, a coach's kid, the whole 9 yards. Just absolutely insane. Elway's one of the greatest athletes ever to play the position. By the way, what you're seeing with Mahomes now, Mahomes has the capabilities of reading defenses. What Andy Reid is doing is bringing it out in him like he did with Michael Vick. Certain guys, and most guys, had the propensity to read defenses. It takes a certain savant to be able to coach it. By the way, this morning that I heard, John Gruden has interviewed with Mickey Loomis on being the next head football coach of the New Orleans Saints in 2025. Just so you keep that out there. Remember, Big Sales told you that. Remember, just keep that filed away that John Gruden most likely will be the head football coach of the New Orleans Saints. So make sure you keep that out there, okay? And John Gruden also is a feet guy. He's a Mike Holmgren type of guy. Always working on Favre's feet back in the day. Same thing when you're talking about Kurt Warner. Okay? I said this in the beginning. If Jalen can learn to read defenses and go through his progressions, he would be unstoppable. I'll tell you this too, Andreas. If Jalen Hurts can just tick it up and be decent at reading defenses, he would be unstoppable. If they run him. Yes. He doesn't have to be superstarish. But when he runs the ball, his passing lanes are open. And I'll make this point to you. He's one of the more accurate guys I've ever seen as a dual threat running quarterback. Now, again, he's not a pocket passer and he'll never be. But that's not what the conversation is. You're now getting him back to who he is. He's starting to look like Jalen Hurts again to me. And that's a good thing for you because that's what you paid for. You had a year and a half of kicking the tires on this other Jalen Hurts, and he sucked. This Jalen Hurts here, I don't care if you're playing a 2-7 team or a 7-2 team. That's hard to defend. Okay? That's a hard to defend guy when you have that. Please hit the like button, guys. I'm not, dude. The Niners have been a train wreck this year when it comes to their injuries. Give me a break, dude. Jesus, criminy. And by the way, beat the Niners, especially if Gruden is coaching next season. I think the Saints will be absolutely great, and they want to team him up with Derek Carr again. He had great success with Derek Carr when he was in Las Vegas. They went to a playoff, and he was developing Derek Carr, and John likes him. Gruden will be like, get your trash ass out of here. I can't work with that. I can work with that. John Gruden is a really good developer of quarterbacks. But the problem is with John, he doesn't like young quarterbacks. If you look at any time that he's coached, Carr's probably the youngest quarterback he's ever had that he liked, because the rest of them, he never coached them. He had the Chris Simses of the world, the Tim Rattays, the Jeff Garcias, the Brad Johnsons, guys like that. He wanted veteran quarterbacks on his football team. He didn't like young guys. He thought they weren't smart enough. Remember that Gruden school he used to have when he was on Monday night? That would tell him a lot about the guy's senses of where he is as a quarterback and how he sees the game. Young guys don't see the game down the field. They see the game in front of them with their head down. Very few times you get a guy who can look down the field and that's why this kid Jaden Daniels. See what Mike Tomlin said about him? Hey, James Jones, you in here? You hear what Mike Tomlin said? That guy's a formidable dual threat guy. And his ability to run has to be reckoned with. He made me feel like he was talking about Lamar Jackson. And I actually think this guy's a better passer than Lamar Jackson. The run action with Barkley and the threat of Hurts' legs opens everything up. Yeah, absolutely. That's why you have single coverage on the perimeters. That's why you're starting to see single coverage. Because it's if you're a defensive coordinator, A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith, keep them in front of me. They worry me, but they're not my top priority. My top priority is Hurts running and Barkley. The key to the success of the Eagles this year, defensively and offensively, is going to come down to those two men. It's going to come down to those two guys and how far you go this year and how good your defense looks. You start getting 3 and outs and say AJ, and I hear he's day-to-day. Okay, he misses this Cowboy game. Now, look, it's a divisional game. You want to win this game, so you want to put that team out. Okay, the next week, actually, if that's Baltimore, I don't know if it's Baltimore or Washington. Okay, if it's a division game, it matters. If it's a AFC game, I don't really care about that game. I'm going to keep AJ out. But if it's another divisional game, I got to play him. I got to play AJ in these divisional games because Washington is going to be formidable. You can't lose to Dallas and not have AJ out there, and he could have played. Win your division first. Don't worry about Detroit and San Francisco. That's the least of your concerns on November 6th. Win your division. Home field advantage. You get even if it's a wild card, you get a home field game. Let the chips fall. Because again, I think right now, Detroit and Brad Holmes have done a remarkable job at transforming the roster of the Lions. You want to hear something freaking amazing? Guys, please hit the like button for me. Super chats go to the top. I want to show you something here, which is absolutely stunning when you're talking about some of these football teams that Xander brought a point up the other day about running the ball in teams that are in the top part of the playoff schedule. And you're looking at some of these teams. I want to show you something here. Do you know that Jahmyr Gibbs and David Montgomery Let me take a look at that. Before I give you, I don't want to give you false information. So David Montgomery, how about this one, Xander? David Montgomery. These are the two running backs. These are the two running backs in Detroit. David Montgomery is on pace for 1,037 yards, 15 touchdowns on 240 carries, 4.4 clip. And Jameer is on pace for 1,400 yards and 15 touchdowns. So let me add this up for you here. Those two running backs are on pace for 2,500 rushing yards combined and 30 touchdowns. Okay? They're on pace for 2,500 yards. One guy's on pace for 1,100 yards. The other guy's on pace for over 1,400 yards and 15 touchdowns. And the other guy's on pace for 15 touchdowns. You're going to get 30 rushing touchdowns and 2,500 yards from two running backs in Detroit. You're going to stop that? And you got Jared Goff right now, who is on pace. Think about what Detroit is doing and how great Detroit is right now. So he's on pace. And the reason why his passing numbers are down is because of the running game. He's on pace for 39-10 with 30 touchdowns, 9 picks. So what you're going to get with those three men in the backfield, you're getting 5,500 yards of total offense. And you're getting 90 touchdowns. Where do you have that? You have it at the perimeter. They don't have it at the perimeter like that. That's what's making Detroit a formidable team. And their issues are on defense. Let's take a look at where they are offensively when it comes to wide receivers. You know, you guys think you have this high-powered offense. Okay, well, St. Brown right now is on pace for 986 and 4 touchdowns. And the other guy, Williamson, who I thought this was going to be more like Devontae, who has been in and out of the lineup, is right now on pace for about 767 and 6 touchdowns. The Lions are more of a physical team than you. And by the way, their O-line is just as good as yours, if not better. Okay? They've got the number 1 rated offensive line according to PFF. You've got the 4th or 3rd, I think it is. Okay? Get this. Akbar says Detroit doesn't want to see us. Really? Well, you've never taken on a team like this with this much offensive firepower and the fact that they're dominant at the point of attack. Get this. They're not better, Sills. They're having a better season than you, especially running the ball. You got 2 guys on pace for 1,500 yards, or one guy 1,100, the other guy 1,400 yards, 30 touchdowns. They run the ball better than you, and there's 2 of them. What are you talking about? What are you talking about? The right tackle is better. Get this, the left tackle, Penei Sewell, is regarded as the best offensive tackle to Trent Williams in the league. Get this. Chips and Bird says they're peaking early. Like I said, do I think that Detroit right now, Detroit, by the way, was my team at the beginning of the year to win the Super Bowl. I picked them to win the Super Bowl. It's fine if the passing game takes a back seat, correct? When you can run like the Lions, not only is it demoralizing for the opponent, it's also much lower risk in terms of turnovers, a tall task, no doubt. Hey, Nasty, isn't that the formula that the Eagles had in 22, low percentage turnovers, run the ball. That's why you're not seeing turnovers the last 4 weeks. It's because they're not throwing it as much like they did in 22. Take a look at the Lions. They have lower turnover opportunities now because they're not throwing the ball 40 times a game. They got 2 guys that are going to give you 2,500 yards rushing. I'm going to run that. And that head coach wants that and likes that. Okay? He likes that. Absolutely, man. Eagles and Lions have the same number of rushing TDs with less rushing yards. That's not what I'm saying. Who has less rushing yards? Here's the deal, though, dude. Eagle for life. They got 2 guys that are going to get $1,000 this year. And they're going to get 30 touchdowns. And they got a guy who could throw the ball for 4,500 yards and 30. You don't have a quarterback that's going to throw for 30 touchdowns. At best, he'll throw 21. They put the ball in the end zone, dude. Might be dumb, but why does it seem like Vic or pass rush is more aggressive than under Jonathan Gannon? If the run's the same style, D feels like it looks too different to me. Because here, Jonathan Gannon's front 4 and front 7 got home more. He had 70 sacks that year. Devin, you got to always put into context. I don't want my quarterback running. Hey, you have lesser skilled pass rushers today. You don't have the same pass rushing skill set that you had in 22. Reddick was a 16-sack guy. Sweat had 11. BG had 11. Those were your perimeter pass rushers. I want to show you something here when you say that. And why does it look different now? Well, think about it. BG had 11. Reddick had 16. Sweat had 11. That's 38 sacks between 3 guys. You're nowhere near that. Josh Sweat has like 4, 3.5. BG has like 1. Smith has 3. These guys had 38 sacks that year. Just off the perimeter. You're not going to get anywhere near that because Huff has been a bust. You have no edge rushing presence whatsoever. Mitchell and DeJean allow you to be more aggressive on defense. The increase in speed allows you to cover better and play more press. You know what's funny? I made a comment to you guys on draft day. And Mitchell, how many guys are happy with Quinyon Mitchell? How many guys are happy with Quinyon Mitchell? How many guys like what you're seeing with him? I'm happy with Q. Are you? Do you guys remember who I suggested for you? Do you guys remember? No. Q looks good. Remember I told you that if you want to really take a kid, you should take that kid, Cameron Kitchens, University of Miami kid. He was just named the Defensive Player of the Week as a rookie. 2 picks this past weekend, and he was named the Defensive Player of the Week. He's only the 3rd, I think it is. Oh, excuse me. He's only the 2nd Ram to ever win that honor, and he's had a great season so far. Okay? And I know you guys love Cooper DeJean, but that's just something to keep back in your mind, so keep an eye on him with the Rams right now because he was just named, not Rookie of the Week. He was just named the rookie. He was just named the Defensive Player of the Week. Okay? and he was a third rounder. That's drafting, and that's under drafting someone who's a first round pick. Okay. You said Arnold. I don't have a problem with Arnold. He's a 7-1 team right now. I don't have a problem with Arnold at all, Teron Arnold. Not one bit. I don't hold to that. We'll see who has better career. We'll see who's in a better situation. Okay? Honestly. One guy's 6-2, the other guy's 7-1. I don't know. Both start. Okay? We'll see who has a better career. We'll see. Who has a better career here? Looking up Kitchen's numbers. He's on pace for a great season. He's going to be on the all-rookie team himself. Okay? I mean, he's going to be on the all-rookie team. I want to double-check here on that. But I'll tell you one thing the Rams have done. They have rebuilt that football team. They draft exceptionally well. Les Snead and Kevin Demoff, they do a fantastic job at drafting, especially the latter round guys. They just do a really great job of drafting. I mean, guys in the second, third, and fourth rounds. I mean, really exceptional. I mean, guys you never even hear of are doing really great jobs here. Let me see here. Okay, so Kitchens has 2 picks, and by the way, he has a touchdown return for a pick as well. He's on pace right now for 40 tackles and 5 interceptions this year. I keep an eye on my Miami guys just for shits and giggles, though. Says what rebuild for the Rams? Like they never. I mean, I agreed with you, Brian. Brian, they stripped that team down because of salary cap, and then they've redrafted, getting guys in the latter rounds. Rams do a really nice job. They really do. They do an exceptional job at retooling their football team, and their coach is an absolutely spectacular coach, Sean McVay. I would put Sean McVay probably second or first when it comes to play callers in the NFC. He's a spectacular coach. You know, in the NFC, he's probably the most decorated coach that's right now coaching in the NFC. Been to 2 Super Bowls, has a win. Coach of the Year award. I mean, not much you could say about Sean McVay. And he actually, instead of Nick Sirianni, has a job. See here. Plus, yeah, look. And they got Verse in the first round, too. They got, get this. So you got 2 guys potentially from the Rams are going to be on the all-rookie team. Cameron Kitchens and also Jared Verse. I'm not saying Cooper DeJean and Quinion will not be on that list either, because those 2 guys are playing well. All right. So, and again, see this right here? Just like you have to take into account who you've played. Now, again, there's been some star wide receivers that he's gone against, so that's unfair of a comment towards him. But he's played against some really good players. You haven't played against really great teams, but he's played against good players. And that is a stat. That is a stat. Dude, I'm not throwing shade on him. I'm just telling you could have got a guy in the 3rd round in Kitchens and not overdrafted a guy like Jordan Davis with the 13th pick. That's called getting your draft right. Okay? That's all McVay is you got a play caller. Who do you think is better, a leader of the team? McVay or Stafford? The leader of that football team is the head coach. Get this. Oh, I'll tell you what he does. I know this for a fact. Sean McVay makes all coaching hires. The front office has no bearing on it. He hired Raheem Morris, who's now in line for the Coach of the Year award down in Atlanta. He had Wade Phillips, who was just a Coach of the Year of that XFL thing or that UFL thing. He hires great defensive-minded coaches, and he has them take care of that side of the ball. They sit down in meetings together, just like what Vic Fangio does, And they have complete autonomy on what they want to do on that side of the football. And that's how that organization runs that. And Sean takes care of the offense. And it's all Sean McVay. McVay doesn't converse with anybody. That's a problem that I have also with Nick Sirianni being involved in the play calling still. He is involved in it. Kellen Moore so said it. Okay? Here's absolutely a stupid comment. Sills, what is that team without Stafford? Well, ask yourself this. What was Detroit with Stafford? What was Detroit with Stafford? He had Megatron. What was Stafford? Oh, wait. Are you under the impression Detroit was great? When he never won a playoff game there. Jared Goff was sent there to die. He was sent to Detroit to die. Be a bridge quarterback. Get a kid in the draft. That's not what's happened. Jared Goff right now is making more money than Matthew Stafford. Hey, by the way, what do you think McVay did for Baker Mayfield when he was in Los Angeles? Got him a $100 million contract? And Tampa showed him how to see the game better? That coach in Los Angeles is a coach like the guy in Green Bay, the guy in San Francisco. Those are play calling. Andy Reid in Kansas City. Those are special guys who have a feel for the game. Okay? Hey, get this. Goff was the number one pick. So was Mayfield. Oh, I forgot. That's right. That's why you can't beat him lately. So at the halfway point, do you think Davis, Carter, and Sweat are going to hold up for the rest of the year? The question would be Josh Sweat. He's playing a lot of snaps again. Last year, he had over 980 snaps. Somebody's got to spell the guy. That's the question. You think Howie really built and Howie made a mistake not making a move on draft day? I think he could have used some depth. Could have used depth at tight end. He could have used depth at edge. And maybe even wide receiver. Xander disagreed with me on wide receiver, but outside of your top two guys, I don't really think you have capable and confident guys. I mean, Jahan Dotson has made a miracle play. That's not something, when I watched that play that he made last week against the Jags, that doesn't do anything for me. That guy's a non-factor in a football game. They throw a Hail Mary up and he caught it. Congratulations to you, kid. Prior to that catch, you were a turd. How you doing always, Sonny? Okay? That guy's a turd. That whole unit. Now, when you get Covey back, that'll be interesting to see what they do. Okay? All right. Guys, do me a favor. Please hit the like button. Xander's going to join us at the bottom of the hour. Tony Casillas will join us because Mark Holmes, hey, man, he bailed. By the way, Philly 500 has an obligation. He's going to be with us tomorrow, but we'll send a link to Mark tomorrow. We'll see. He's talking shit on Big Sills. Hey, I don't care. Just like John, Xander, all of you. I don't care. Hey, I'm kind of above that stuff now. You want to? I'll still send a link. Okay? Get this. Too bad he's giving the. So you got to get this. Hey, Andre, so you think Sean McVay's a terrible play caller? He's been to 2 Super Bowls and won 1. And lost to the Patriots 14-7. What's your guys' excuse for those fuck-ups last week versus the Jags? And that great game he called. Defensive Rookie of the Year. Verse, Quinion, Cooper DeJean, Braden Fisk. Where'd that kid play, Prince? And Kamir Lasser. Where'd that kid Fisk play? Where'd that guy play? I forget where he played last year. Ah. Okay, so wait, the two FSU edge rushers, that's why I know that. Am I right when I say that? Those are the two FSU rushers that they had, Verse and Fisk. I Florida State. Okay, those are the two edge rushers. I appreciate your bluntness. I'm a diehard fan. Thank you for the truth, Sills. It is so refreshing to have a tough love reporter like yourself. I could do without the reporter part, but Big B, thank you very much. And I'll also say this, Big B. Now let me roll it in here. November 6th. Your football team is so young on one side of the ball, and I'm just not sold yet. You know when I'll be sold? By the end of the year, as you get into the playoffs, we'll be able to get more of a sense. But how about this? Do I feel better about your? Here, I'll make a comment to you. I feel better about your 6-2 team. Hey, did you guys start out last year 8-0? Did you guys start out last year 8-0? What was your record at the halfway mark of last year? 7-1? Okay. Well, I feel better about this football team at 6-2 than last year's 7-1 team. I feel better about your unit and your roster today than I did last. I didn't feel anything last year about that roster. I thought it was smoke and mirrors. Okay? So if we want to go there, Sills, how do you feel about it now? Do you feel better today than you did a year ago when the football team had a better record? Oh, absolutely. I thought what they were doing last year offensively was not sustainable and predictable. I think there's a little bit of the predictability still involved in the offense. But here's the difference. Let me show you something about being predictable and what the difference is this year versus last year. Hey, when you throw the ball and you're being predictable, that's easy to defend. When you're running the ball, and I'm doing this to you, and I'll show you something here. Think about this, LJ. Here's the difference with this year versus last year's group. All right, guys. You see that A gap? I'm going to run in that A gap. And there's fucking nothing you can do about it. I don't care what you do. I'm running in that A gap versus throwing the ball around where you're more of a finesse team. It's more of a man's type of offense. It's more of a dominant type of offense. And, dude, I'm telling you what I'm doing, and you can't stop it. There's no defending that. There's absolutely no defending it. Yeah, look at this. KC smoke and mirrors. You know what smoke and mirrors are doing? Talking about a football team that's never succeeded. That's such a absolutely awful take. They have built equity up where you haven't. You don't have any equity. So you're telling me you think Kansas City smoke and mirrors, but you're not. How's that possible that you would think that? How stupid. You're not better than that team. You're not better coached. You're not better coached than that team. Stop doing that. You sound ignorant. Ideal Poker to Adrian Peterson. Really nice guy. Hey, I heard he's broke. We talked about politics in the NFL. He told me sometimes it's not in the coach's hands. That's an absolutely true comment. Always remember something, Big B. Thank you very much for the super chat. Always remember this. If you pay the player, you're playing the player. You know, you don't sit guys on the bench. That's why that Bradbury thing doesn't make sense to me. You got a guy who hasn't played all year long making $11 million on the bench. I don't get it. Okay? I don't get it. Sills, you don't have equity. I don't need fucking equity. Don't say shoulda, woulda when you all say that 7-1 shit. I just, we'll see. Like I said, you're right. Chiefs are undefeated because of their coaching and Mahomes. Mahomes makes things possible, even with an aging Hall of Famer like Kelsey and Hopkins. Senor, I will tell you this. I went back and watched a little bit of DeAndre Hopkins, and I won't lie to you. I was shocked. He looked like DeAndre Hopkins. Now, I don't know how long that's going to last. I don't know. But boy, I'll tell you, against the Bucs, he looked really good. DeAndre Hopkins, if he wins a Super Bowl, will be a Hall of Fame player. He's got the numbers to prove it. That guy's a heck of a football player, man. Here, you tell me here. Hopkins right now is almost 1,300 yards, and he's a 5-time Pro Bowler. And if he gets a Super Bowl ring, he's going to Canton. And the Chiefs only had to give up, what was it, a 4th rounder for him? Is that right? Was it a 4th or 5th? So you got that guy from Tennessee for a 4th or 5th rounder. He wins the Super Bowl, he's going to Canton. He's going to Canton. That's how good he is. Seals ain't Hopkins' issues. Talent ain't Hopkins' issues. It was the quarterbacks and health. Played with shitty quarterbacks outside of Watson. Hasn't really played in 3 years now. Might have more juice in the table too, man. Or in the tank, I should say. He might. But he just absolutely looked great. Okay? Here's Prince. Prince, he's not an elite quarterback or a wide receiver any longer. The quarterback is making him and elevating him. Your guy doesn't elevate the guys. They elevate him. When you have a lesser talented older player and he goes to a superstar quarterback, he's going to elevate. Patrick Mahomes elevates every wideout on that team. Your quarterback doesn't. And when he's not on the field, the offense falls to shit. That's a fact. I mean, coaches should elevate players. Coaches put you in a position, and then to John McMullen's point, you execute good game plans. Dude, shitty game plans win ball games. Ask Nick Sirianni. Ask Sirianni. Hit the like button, guys. I appreciate you guys have been great. All right. How many points do you think you guys are going to put on the Dallas Cowboys? On Sunday? How many points are you going to put on that team? Hopkins is an elite wide receiver. No, he's not. Let me guess. Mahomes is running routes for him and catching the football. Stop. Yeah, right. Okay, you're right. No, he's elite. Yeah, you're right. Yeah. How about this, folks? Could DeAndre Hopkins start on the Philadelphia Eagles? Oh, let me guess. In the 3-hole? Okay. Hey, a bag of dildos could start at the wide receiver number 3 in Philadelphia. Okay? Honestly, a bag of dildos could line up at the number 3 wide receiver on your team. Holy cow. I mean, yeah. Before I bring my boy Xander up here. Now, we'll do it with him. We'll do this with him. Tony Casillas is going to join us at 5:30. All-Pro Dallas Cowboy does a show for the Cowboys. It's Cowboy Eagle Week. Hit the like button. Holy cow. Hold on here. Let me do this. Let me clean off my glasses here. I don't want to get hit by incoming Eagle love here. Hold on here. You know, you have to have your glasses on because between this guy and McMullen, man, I take incoming all the time when it comes to Eagle love. Get the W, stay healthy, don't play down, and get ready for Washington. That's right. Hit the like button. All right, folks. He is the co-host of Bards 365 in the pre- and post-game show. He is, without a doubt, one of the more younger, talented people in our business, and he is the co-host of Birds 365. He is Big Z, Xander Krause.
Thank you, Sills. What's going on, brother? That's a nice comment from the legend himself.
I think you're really